You'd be glad to know that there will be no singing in this portion of our.
There will not.
Yeah, no singing. We didn't rehearse anything.
Freedom, that one.
Right. So, but thanks everyone for being here, and thanks for you coming all the way from Copenhagen. Where are your people? Look at your things.
Exactly.
What is this?
I'll keep it like this.
Look at the AV guys coming.
It's okay now.
Where's your agent? The talent cannot be treated this way. Okay, so very, very happy to be sitting and talking with you. He runs a restaurant in Copenhagen named Alchemist, as well as an innovation lab. Probably just to get us all centered on what it is. You have a video, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to start that? This will just to give you a sense of his work. Are you all ready to cue that? I got the thumbs up. Not like what are the pasta specials tonight? It's not. But just so Alchemist is in Copenhagen. It has been on the list of the world's 50 best restaurants. Oh, I have to. This is going to come to you, and you're going to want to eat it right away. But you will not eat it right away, because I want to have a chance to tell you about it. So if it's possible to just hold on to the chocolate, so we can all eat it together. I know I'm asking a lot of you. But do your best, because there will be a moment where we'll talk about this chocolate, which comes from his innovation lab. Again, you're not. I see you in the front. You wanted to eat it. Is it possible to not? Okay. So the Alchemist on the 50 best restaurants in the world list, 2 Michelin stars, 52 people a night. I think you seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Only 1 seating a night. The cost can be upwards of $2,000 US dollars if you have the fancy wine pairing and all the things.
Yeah, that's with the fancy wine pairing.
Right. Okay. And that includes 50 of what you call impressions.
Exactly.
Right. You call this holistic cuisine. Talk to me a little bit about what that is.
But the holistic cuisine we initiated in 2019 because of the lack of I didn't feel like there was a cuisine like this in the world, and it is taking roots in French gastronomy, New Nordic gastronomy, and so on. So we stand on the shoulder on giants in that way. But I also wanted to have an element that was more than just the craft itself and just the ingredients, which chefs talk a lot about. I wanted to decorate the rooms in ways that could stir up conversations about things happening in society. The temperature in the rooms, the conversations that we can spark through a night. So having all of these elements and looking more holistic on things. So all from our toilet paper is black and smell of violets. I can say it's a very bad investment because nobody is smelling to the toilet paper. So, but having
But they
the
will
holistic,
now.
yeah, they
Now
will
that we
now,
know,
exactly.
yeah.
So having the holistic approach for everything that we're doing, also working wise staffage and so on.
Right. And how many people does it take for you to do this every night?
112 people. So we're 112 people. And it's all from waiters and chefs, of course, but we also have wine list hired, dancers, VFX artists, graphic designer, industrial designers, PhD students, and so on. So it's quite a broad diversity of skill sets as well.
And I want to talk about a couple of the dishes, because I know part of your work is to address some of the crucial issues of our time: animal welfare, waste reduction, obviously climate change, the ramifications of what we eat and our dining choices on the world around us. Okay, so a couple dishes. I want you to explain. You may have other ones. Edible plastic made from dehydrated cod skin, served on a plate made from recycled plastic trash. A mousse of lamb brains and foie gras piped into a bleached lamb skull, then garnished with ants and roasted mealworms. A thin layer of rabbit draped over a silver skeleton. Now, there may be other examples, but talk to us a little bit about what are you doing with the rabbit over the skeleton? What is that?
What's that fetish?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that dish we call hunger. So it was developed in COVID time. For me, this big paradox that we live in a world where 800 million people is facing hunger, and 1/3 of all food that we produce for human consumption is wasted and discarded. So that paradox became even bigger for me in the COVID, because it was internationally, globally, we could change our behavior. We could stop flying. We could walk in the same direction. Like all of these habits that we had, we could change that because there was some danger coming closer to ourselves. And I was just like, if the world went together, having the smartest people in the room, they don't even need to find a new vaccine or a cure because we have it out there. It's just food. Could we then solve this problem? And that was, I went to my studio, said to the guys and my industrial designer that I want to have this rib cage made in silver, and then we want to slice some of the more sustainable protein that's out there, animal protein, rabbit in this case, slice very thin and put it on as a little skin. So you need to peel off that from this rib cage.
Right, to think about that.
Yeah.
Tell us about the plastic waste dish.
The plastic waste is also a dish about plastic in the ocean. When we opened the restaurant, there came a report from Danish Technology Institute that told us like 1/3 of all Danish cod was filled with microplastic inside. And if you look on a global perspective, it was even bigger problem. So we wanted to kind of showcase that. So we take a jawbone from the cod heads that's normally just discarded as well. We use all of the time that's need to take in to clean it and make it nice, and then we cook it over open fire, and we serve it with some edible plastic on top that's made of different seaweeds and the collagen from the cod skin as well. And then you need to like withdraw the meat and the plastic and consume it yourself. Also to showcase guests that this is coming back to you in one way or another. I think Nature had last year the 0.4 milligrams of plastic now in human brain's average. So it's quite a big problem.
A big statement, yeah, a big statement. Is there another dish you're working on right now that you're excited about?
Oh, we have a lot of things. I think butterfly is interesting.
Now you actually serve farmed butterflies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I'm
So
not very
how do
popular to. Yeah.
Is that like a job to farm a butterfly? I had no idea, but
It's a job. He's on pension.
Europeans,
but
am I right?
Yeah, it's Live, our good friend. He's 80 years old and former insect farmer.
Really?
I'm
Okay.
doing a project with several universities on insects and the proteins of that. We know, and I think that's interesting with the butterfly thing, because when we serve a butterfly that's farmed, people freak out completely. Like, why do we need to eat this? And we're not taking this. And we're not taking it from the wild nature. We're farming them, so they're safe to eat. But it contains this one, the little butterfly that we have made some scientific research on, contains around 3.5 times more protein than chicken, and very easy to farm. So it could be very interesting, maybe to the future. And in a restaurant like Alchemist, we want to put these things on the edge, so you have something to discuss and talk about. The easiest, of course, we will never sell it as a whole butterfly in the supermarket. I don't think that will run anywhere. But but maybe as a powder and protein, and I think that you could put into other foods in the
Right.
future.
What do you, what goes with butterfly? What does one serve with butterfly?
There's not that thing that's not going with butterfly.
I
you
see.
know?
What doesn't go with
White
butterfly?
wine, red wine,
Yeah.
everything. It's good for
A rosé,
everything. Yeah.
it's great. Yeah, I mean, do you serve it on it like with in another preparation, or does it just come as it's
No, we
itself?
serve it on a little. It's a nettle butterfly, so they live on nettles, and then they feed it with honey water. So we serve it on a little leaf that's made of nettles, and then a nettle fresh cheese as well. So if you just put milk and nettles into it and just let it coagulate, then you create this kind of cheese. So it's a fresh cheese that's on top of that, and then with the
Fascinating.
butterfly on top,
Right.
which is freeze dried, so you get a little bit crispy texture.
Okay, I like it very much. One thing, and we had talked a little bit about this, is the chef as social and political change agent, right? And there was certainly a moment, and maybe started 15 years ago, where chefs became, an important part of. James Beard had a chef boot camp. People, political boot camp. Chefs have certainly donated money and worked on hunger issues, labor issues. But how important is it still? I mean, how important is it for a chef to be trying to change the world in the way that you are? A lot of people think chefs should just cook. I don't want to think about
exactly.
stuff. I want to go to cook, do that well, I'll go eat that. Why are chefs, what do you think about chefs as political change agents, and why?
I mean, I think it's hard to take them all over one. Say, all chefs need to do some actions. It's not all billionaires or all companies and all entrepreneurs that want to do actions as well. So, but I think chefs have a big voice out there. I think we have a lot of spotlight on us as well. You can not turn on to the television and without seeing a chef program, and so you're getting a lot of time to speak. I'm sitting here today. I have a 9 grade from a little farmer city in Denmark. I'm not very clever, but I'm still sitting here and communicating. So I'm also trying to make sure that what I'm communicating is right, because that's very important as well. So I think chefs have the possibility to do that. I think restaurants is a very good communicator. It's a very good platform of also introducing some new things as well, as we just heard before. Restaurants is a place where you try new things, and that's what I feel like with our craft we can actually do things. And I look back for some years ago when I needed to take the decision what I wanted to do with my future, because I wanted to do something that had an impact, and that's what I'm driven by. And that's why I started Alchemist. I went to the bank, said I want to make a restaurant that's changing the world for gastronomy. I want to loan 2 million Danish kroner, and I don't want to earn any money. I just want to make an impact. I didn't get any loan in the bank. I came back a couple of weeks later with a budget where I said, now I earn a lot of money, and I actually got surprisingly allowed to loan the millions to do it. So I think my vision and mission is really to change and make an impact. And I could see in restaurants before I started Alchemist that these famous chefs, they're getting a lot of attention, a lot of and they have a platform where they could speak out loud. Because I mean, the most sustainable thing if you want to do an impact and change the world is maybe not to have alchemists running every day, to be honest. There's 10 projectors lighting up this huge planetarium. There's 112 people working there. We have people flying in from all around the world every night. So if you're looking from day to day, it would probably be the most sustainable thing to shut the thing down. Mm-hmm. But it's also is opening a lot of doors for me. So since we opened the restaurant, we have several initiatives that we started. One of the things that's quite local is now we're supplying all Danish homeless people, social vulnerable people, with a hot meal every day. And that's succeed because I have a position of being a famous chef, and I can open some doors, funding money to this project, and make it operate every day. So that's been out of Alchemist. I think that's what we're doing, and where we're looking at things that we do in the restaurant. We're looking very holistic on things. That's also why I started Spora, because we want to do things on a bigger scale globally.
Yeah, let's and this is getting into the chocolate piece now. So let's talk about Spora, which is you call it your innovation lab.
Yeah.
And how did that start, and what is the intention of it? And then you can take us through some of the products that came out of it, like the chocolate.
Yeah, since we opened Alchemist, I'm very fascinated about having a test kitchen. Everybody have a test kitchen. So I needed that one as well. And I think what I did different from many chefs, I went actually to Copenhagen University, and I saw how much knowledge there was in this university, how many PhD students, master students, and so on, that made so much content. But it seemed like it was read by the same people that was writing it. It was like this kind of echo chamber of being rough now, but echo chamber of not coming out and live. And I was like, where is this? Where is the platform that you can serve some of these innovations in? And we started having collaboration with the university, and over the time we published over 15 scientific papers in the restaurant, and that's quite rare. I don't think there's any restaurants in the world doing that. So, and some of the times when we published this knowledge, a new innovation, we had a new product, I thought it deserved to come out to the broader market. So one or two initiatives, Spora, which is our innovation center for food, and harness and taking the creativity for restaurants and chefs like myself, like how can you take this creativity and put it into a company that could look at it and say, okay, if this is sustainable, if it's scalable, then let's get it out in the market.
And you did one with, for example, rapeseed oil cake, waste, right, from when they press the oil, and
exactly.
Tell me a
so
little bit
we had the one project that led to it was actually Spora intermedia, which is a fungi strain that you use on fermenting ontom in Indonesia. So it's kind of like a tempe from Indonesia, and this orange fungi we had a collaboration with Berkeley University, and over like the year we found out we made a dish in the restaurant that tasted very sweet, and suddenly we found out that this is a very unique enzyme that's in the Spora intermedia, which is creating this sweetness. So imagine if you could create sugar flavors without having any pikes in your blood sugar, and also with just a natural fermentation for a couple of days. So that was kind of what led into and saying, okay, we need to do this more serious. We need to hire people from the industry as well. So Mette, my CEO, that's also here today, have a former background, 14 years in Novo Nordisk in Denmark, coming more from the commercial side in biotech, and how can we take that and how can we secure some of the IPs and some of the knowledge as well we're creating in that. One of the big projects we're working on now, we have two things that we're working on. There's the bigger projects. It's like the rapeseed press cake. So when you have canola oil, you press the seeds, and then you have the seeds as a side stream. Today, 99% of that side stream is used for animal feed, but the only animals that can take it in is a cow. So it's feeded to cows, and instead of putting all the feed into them, could we make this into a protein for human feed instead? And that's what we have done. We have made a technology that for me tastes amazing, and I'm of course very biased, but I think it's the best alternative to meat I've tasted. It's very interesting as well because it's only 5 ingredients. And what is the most exciting thing about this is that we have, on paper, we can cover the protein needs for around 800 million people's life. So it's quite crazy to think about that 50% of the protein that we grow in Europe is this crop, but we don't use the protein, we only use the oil. And
how do you eat it? What does it
the
taste
crazy
like?
thing.
Is it like
it tastes really good. It's like
Impossible Burger style stuff? Or
no, it's and I think that's important as well. We're not trying to mimicking meat in that way. We want to have a product by its own, something that can stand alone, have a price point that's compatible, but also something where you buy it because this is this is tasting good. It caramelizes very well. Is in the family with with mustard. So you have the kind of this mustard umami flavors. As I said, 5 ingredients. So it's quite interesting if we could get that up in scale.
Now, the chocolate. You may start to eat your chocolate, although I'm looking at you
in one
second
bite,
row.
One bite.
Okay, tell us about the chocolate, because what they're eating is not chocolate.
No, it's not a chocolate. It's non-chocolate. So it's one of our projects we're doing as well with the spent brewer's grain. So when you produce beers, the leftover side stream from that is which is also used for animal feed today. There's around 40 million tons of that. So it could be interesting to turn that into food. We have done several things like pastas and noodles and so on. And here there's a chocolate, especially because there is a big pressure on our chocolate industry, and it doesn't seem like we will crave less of this in the future, increasing prices with 300% and so on. So how could we maybe make an alternative that's also closer to ourselves? And it also seems like we're not stopping drinking beers in near future as well. Right. So if we could turn that into something that's delicious, and it's not to say we don't need chocolate in the world anymore. I think in a very diverse diet as well, and I think in a balance on everything. And this is, I would say, you could fool me. I think it's very good in texture and have to snap, and we worked very much on getting the mouth feeling right. But it's completely plant-based and made of the Spanish spirit grain.
Right. What do we think? Marion Nessel, I see you there. You'll always tell us the truth. Surprisingly good. Quote. What is inside it?
35
Butterflies.
different ingredients. Butterfly. No, it's the spent brewers grains, and then it's of course sugar and fats and the plant-based fats.
And so even the interior is the same. The ganache that you do inside is the same material.
Yeah, this one is filled with a little bit of salted caramel inside.
Oh, salted caramel. There you go. That makes anything delicious. We're going to have time for a couple more questions, but I want to break a little news because this is the most exciting thing I thought coming out. You are able to make food out of air, to be more general.
Yeah.
But you're taking CO2. I know he's like Rumpelstiltskin here. CO2 and acetate to turn into a protein. And this is huge. And you've got huge backing from Gates Foundation, I think Novo Nordisk Foundation. You've got a lot of money behind this. So this is not just some crazy chef in Copenhagen idea.
No.
Tell us how this works. How are you making protein from CO2?
So this is a consortium that started like 2 years ago. Novo Nordisk Foundation in Denmark, and probably know it for the Ozempic thing. That's very popular.
That's right.
Right
The
now.
people who didn't eat their chocolate are all on the Ozempic. You can
On that
pass
one.
it forward. Okay.
Yeah, and Gates Foundation went together with several universities and Novo Nordisk in Copenhagen as well to see if they could create a protein scale that is made of CO2 from the industry. So could you capture the CO2 and make that as a feed for a microorganism, which is feeded in acetate, and make that into protein. And that they succeed with that in small scale, and also they mean that they can do it in bigger scale. So now we are joining the consortium, just to actually break the news today. And we're going to, the next 2 years, figure out what people would like to eat in the world. Where we can get this in as a new food, and making food prototypes the next couple of years.
So the CO2 turns into acetate, right, which is what's in vinegars.
Yes, exactly.
And that's through a chemical process, right? Becomes
Yeah,
acetate, and then that becomes protein.
Exactly.
And what does that look like or taste like? What is that ultimately, or is it just kind of a beginning medium that you work with?
Yeah, it's a beginning medium, and I think that's the amazing thing with this project here, which is really what we want to do with Spora. I believe that we need to work with some of the biggest companies out there if we really want to have an impact in the world. I think there's a lot of things that is working the way that they're designed in our food industry, producing a lot of foods. But we have not, when we designed it, we didn't have maybe all of the things in the considerations that we know today regarding our climate and the world that we're living in. And we need to kind of swift that design. And I mean, the rapeseed cake is a good example of something where we can feed nearly 1 billion people on taking the side stream and make it into human food. But there's also a need for radical new solutions like this acetate to food project, which seems quite crazy to take CO2 from the industry and then turn it into a protein source. But it's quite a natural fermentation technology. Having these microbes living on acetate, so it's for me it's very interesting as a chef to take that protein powder it will end up being, and then we need to find out how do we make this delicious and how do we make this into food that people actually want to eat, because I think there's too many food engineer companies that's driven by technology, led by the market, the capsule, like the money that's out there in the horizon, but it's not led by gastronomy, taste, mouth feelings and textures. And it's just, I mean, there's food enough for the planet if everybody wants to shift the diet tomorrow. So if everybody's just started to eat in the way we're supposed to eat like from the report, we could feed everybody, and we could feed up to around 10 billion people. But that's not just that easy. We don't change our habits that much. We're going back, and especially with food, it's a very cultural thing. And when I try to push people to eat from a silicone tongue in Alchemist and tongue kissing with that, or eating a butterfly or from a lamb skull, or like people is like distant to that as well, because that's a new thing and new experience. So I think we need to have these new solutions, but they need also be framed in a way that is something that talk into our culture and to the world we're living in.
All right, great. Well, we actually have like 40 seconds left. Does someone have one quick question? This is terrible to leave you only with 40 seconds. Because I will say one thing. Oh, do you have one?
Yeah, I can jump in.
Quick.
My question will be 7 minutes. Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second. We're going to get you in. Thank you. Thank you so much. My question for you is, a lot of what you're talking about kind of looks like a vision of the future of food. And I was kind of wondering, how does the past, the history of food, kind of the cultural connotations around food that you're talking about factor into your vision for the future?
It's a great question. Food is culture, right? It's what keeps us together and holds us through generations. How do you look back?
I think like we trying to like example. I think the chocolate here, non-chocolate, is a good example of something that is like easy to understand. It's something that you can tap into directly and understand. But there is also the industry need to realize that we need some of these new solutions as well. We had a meeting with a huge chocolate company not long ago, looking at this chocolate and say, this is very futuristic. This is like maybe in 10, 15 years. And I'm like, no, it's just right here in front of you. And if it's driven by flavors and mouth feelings and textures, I think people would like to eat it. My mother is the most terrible chef in the whole universe. She's really bad. And I lived with like 5 dishes when I was a kid, and all of them was overcooked and with potatoes. And I mean, and her favorite dish to eat these days is like running sushi in this little city in Randers. And we have never got fish in my life, but she liked it because there's this deep fried shrimp with chili mayo. And I mean, that's also tastes really good. Like it's not so. It's just to say that even the most radical conservative people, and especially within our diet, I think can be changed. The habits of that through flavors and textures.
Right, and also to your point, we tend to romanticize and nostalgicize our past when we're eating the same 5 crappy dishes with potatoes. But anyway, I hope your mother doesn't hear this session.
No, she will not.
I think we're out of time, but thank you all very much. Rasmus, beautiful. Thank you.